Hello, welcome to Skill Check, the positive gaming podcast from YMCA Exeter. My name is Andy.
And my name is Becky.
And it feels like it's been a while.
It has been a little while. We had a few weeks off.
Do you still remember how to do this?
Yeah.
Did you ever really remember how to do
Yeah.
this?
We always just make up as we go along.
Yeah. Don't give away our secrets or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, before I embarrass myself any more,
Yeah.
what have we got coming up?
Yeah. So we are talking. We're talking UK standards. UK Advertising Standards Authority.
That
Sounds like
fun.
very boring stuff, but I tell you, it's more interesting than you think. We're also talking.
That's not at all clickbaity.
yeah. Not
I
at all.
approve.
Yeah. We are talking. We've got Andy's Game of the Week coming up.
Yes.
Which, always a good one. But first we have...
Gaming news. Now, gaming news. What have you got for us this week, Becky?
We really can't remember how to do this at all.
It doesn't help that we're doing this slightly differently.
Yeah, we are
again.
doing it differently. Yes, anyway, our first piece of gaming news this week is sales of Resident Evil 7 on iOS have flopped, having been bought by under 2,000 people. That's according to the store's... It's not a lot. The store data estimate from App Magic, as shared by mobilegamer.biz. The free to start game has been downloaded 83,000 times since its release on the 2nd of July, meaning just 2.4% of players converted to the £15.99 paid version. In all, Resident Evil 7 on iOS has earned Capcom an estimated $28,140, though that doesn't include 30% Apple percent cut. It means Resident Evil 7 is the latest AAA release to flop on the platform over the last 12 months. Following Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage. Since its launch on the 6th of June, for instance, under 3,000 people have paid for $44.99 for Assassin's Creed Mirage.
I mean, $44.99 for a mobile game.
Yeah. It's a lot of money.
I mean, I get it. I get that it's a AAA game. I get that graphics look good. I get that. I guess at the end of the day, it's almost a technical demonstration of what your phone can do.
Yeah.
But for $44.99,
it's a lot of money for something you were going to put on a phone, isn't it?
and I think that's the question. I think that's what everyone's kind of wondering. Is like, is it because it's just a lot of money for something you're going to put on a phone, which is fine.
Yeah.
You've got a piece of kit that can actually handle this sort of stuff. Why not?
Mm.
But is it too much?
Yeah.
Is that what people are asking? Yeah.
I mean, I'd question whether, so I think with some games, you can put them on different platforms, and that's great. So you can play them on your phone, you can play them on other platforms as well. Whereas this, I think, for just a mobile game, I'd question whether that's too much money. And that's why I think, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I struggle to pay $5 for games on a mobile.
Yeah, and it's not like hooking phones up to a bigger screen is a particularly kind of regular thing yet. Yeah. It just feels a lot of money for something that people don't particularly want.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil 7, again, the whole idea of free to start, why not?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So it is basically, back to the days of having a demo to see if you like the game. Yeah. It obviously isn't hooking enough people in to spend 15 odd quid on that game.
Yeah.
When actually you could probably get it for cheaper on another platform, or if not cheaper, then probably the same sort of price bracket on another platform. And it's like, well, why would I want it on my phone, on a small screen, where the experience isn't as immersive, and actually I could get that elsewhere? Sorry, was that a bit ranty?
No, but I feel like that's going to be the way that it's going to go. And I don't know if mobile gaming like that is going to take off, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. It might just be a case that there isn't a want or need for it yet.
Yeah. Maybe in the future, we might be coming back to this store and be like, oh, it actually works. Yeah. Our next piece of gaming news is Microsoft has launched its Xbox TV app on select Amazon Fire Sticks today. The app, which
Wow.
yesterday,
Some days ago.
some days ago, which Microsoft first announced last month, provides access to Xbox Cloud Gaming, allowing subscribers of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to stream a variety of Xbox titles to some Fire TV devices. The Xbox app will initially be available only on the Fire TV 4K Max and the Fire TV 4K Stick 4K, and will be identical to the same app available on Samsung's recent TVs and monitors. All you need is a compatible Fire Stick, a Bluetooth-enabled wireless controller, and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription to stream Xbox games.
So basically, what they're saying is if you have a new Amazon Fire Stick,
Yeah,
if you have Game Pass Ultimate,
yeah,
you can stream Xbox games on your TV.
yeah.
You do need to have a somewhat decent internet connection for this to work.
Yeah.
As with any kind of cloud-based gaming, don't be like me. I faffed up my internet settings, if we put it that way.
Why did you do that?
I didn't realise it was basically connecting to the wrong Wi-Fi
Oh,
network.
I see. Okay.
I've got a slightly interesting Wi-Fi network compared to some people.
Okay. I won't ask.
Yeah,
That seems complicated.
yeah, it was of its time, and yeah, so it was connecting the wrong way, and I was like, why is this not performing too well?
Yeah.
Turned out the issue was all my fault. But, you know...
It's good that you're taking the blame there, Andy.
Yeah, no, totally. But once you've got a working Wi-Fi connection that is, you know, somewhat decent internet speed, it works. You've got Xbox on your TV?
Yeah.
Game Pass on your TV? It's not exactly the same as what you can have on Xbox in any way, shape, or form. It is just the cloud-based games that are available to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a slightly different catalogue compared to the full kind of Game Pass subscription catalogue.
Yeah.
So there are some differences. You can't get Call of Duty on there last time I checked. For instance, you can't get Jedi Survivor on there. Again, for instance.
Yeah.
But the games you can get, yeah, why not? And if you've got a Fire Stick.
Yeah. And there's a chance that if it takes off, bigger games will become available on it. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a matter of time for some of those games.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is Microsoft's quest to get Game Pass in front of as many people as possible in order to get as many subscriptions as possible. And in the case of a partnership with someone like Amazon, actually, it's a good reason for Amazon to put out new Fire Sticks. Yeah.
Well, I guess again, it's one of those things where we'll see. I think, like, obviously, we're moving away from hardware, and this is Xbox's, Microsoft's way of doing that. One of their ways of doing that. So it would be interesting to see what happens in the future. Our final piece of gaming news today is major video games makers like Activision, Warner Brothers, and Walt Disney are facing a strike by Hollywood performers over their use of AI, artificial intelligence. It follows a year and a half of talks over new contracts between the companies and a union representing more than 2,500 video game performers. The two sides say that they have agreed on several key issues such as wages and job safety, but protections related to the use of AI technology remain a major hurdle. The performers are worried about gaming studios using generative AI to reproduce their voices and physical appearance to animate video games characters without providing them with fair compensation. Although agreements have been reached on many issues, the employer refuses to plainly affirm in clear and enforceable language that they will protect all performers covered by the contract in their AI language, SAG-AFTRA said in a statement.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming. Yeah. We've talked about it before.
Yeah. I mean, this is simply performers who want to do their job, safe in knowledge that they're doing their job for a known outcome.
Yeah.
And not thinking that actually their employer going to take their voice, their performance, use AI to drop it in another project somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, it is clever, and like AI can take certain words and replicate your voice, basically. So if you say certain words to it, it can replicate your voice. And then the idea is that they are then, like, that becomes the gaming, the, like, producers' intellectual property.
Yeah, and it means you can do that sort of thing on scale as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one thing that is important to point out is that the tech to do this has been easily done for years and years and years and years and years. It's the AI bit that has made it far easier to do quicker.
And cheaper for a lot of smaller video games companies. It's very beneficial. But it is, it's difficult to get the balance between allowing that, but also not, protecting people's right to their own voices and their own image and actually, fair compensation for using that. Like, actors make their wages off getting these jobs.
That is entirely it. It's the ethical outcome. It's the ethical outworking and making sure that people actually have enough money to actually, make a living out of this. Because what is the other outcome,
Yeah.
It's like, does this become a thing where less and less people actually want to go into this sort of work, and we have less performers?
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like a win for the consumer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so complicated. This issue of AI is not going to go away. We've talked about it before. It's not going to go away anytime soon. And I think this is going to be an ongoing argument.
Totally. And I'm aware I'll probably come across as quite almost anti-use of AI.
Yeah.
I really am not.
Yeah.
But I think in this instance, yeah, fair play to them.
Yeah. And that's the end of gaming news.
All right, so something that we've missed over the last couple of weeks. So we're what was that, a 2-week break?
So we had a 2-week break because I went on leave, and then you can see that they've redesigned the studio.
There's a studio thing happening.
Yeah.
So we've had a 2-week break, which means that there's been a few things that we've missed.
Yeah.
The Xbox thing, for example. Another thing, and probably arguably less exciting, has been this story about the UK Advertising Standards Authority banning a EA mobile game ad for failing to basically properly disclose in-game purchases, particularly loot boxes.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, shock that, little bit kind of arguably unethical.
Yeah.
Little bit, I mean, EA and loot boxes and advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anymore. I don't really.
It's a bit of a journey for them.
Yeah. Regulator has ruled that simply stating that the game included in-app purchases was inefficient, as loot boxes involve purchasing random items, which is considered critical information for users. So, which brings us nicely, particularly, microphone. Particularly with the kind of lead up to some holidays and screen time being a thing and kids on apps and stuff, we're back on the conversation around in-game purchases, loot boxes, the whole kind of the whole thing about wanting to buy anything.
Yeah, is it the distinction between in-app purchases and loot boxes that's interesting to me? I think that's interesting.
Okay.
So that's like, this is what that's saying, is that loot boxes are different from in-app purchases. So we're saying that in-app purchases are when you know what you're buying and you buy a thing, and the app has to state that it's got an in-app purchase on it, so that if you can pay money and you can get like special things, or you can get it, like quite often with mobile games, it's like get ad free for like this amount of money and that kind of stuff.
And no ads.
Yeah. And so that's like one thing, but loot boxes are different.
Are very much, I'm going to pick this up, let's see what it is.
Yeah.
Some people would call it gambling.
Yeah. Which we've had, I mean...
I'm fairly certain we've had that
conversation.
Yeah,
and a lot of European countries have stated that it is gambling and have put restrictions around it specifically because it's coming under gambling regulations now.
I don't think England is one of those countries.
No, it's not. I don't think it's there yet.
Let's give it time.
Yeah.
I think. But either way, with either and we've already used in-game and in-app purchases interchangeably, and loot boxes. Basically, there's all things you need to pay for, kind of additions to pay for.
Yeah.
So I have stumbled over, I want to say ChildNet.
Yeah.
ChildNet.com, who's presented a few ideas on how to avoid in-app purchases.
Yeah.
Excuse me for a second, I'll scroll back down. Okay, so a few tips from them. Number one, I've kind of adjusted a little bit. Is to basically talk about the game and talk about what it is that they're clicking on. It's like, if your parent, does your kids understand that the terms and conditions and what actually that all means?
Yep.
In practice. To make sure, if you're responsible for a kid who's playing something like, I don't know, even something like Minecraft has like in-game purchases.
Yeah.
Just to kind of add to the experience. Do they understand that, these Minecraft coins, is actual real money?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, which can translate into arguably more tangible items.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the third tip I'm going to mention is something I'm going to kind of argue a little bit. Now, they suggest to make sure that that your kid knows knows to check with the bill payer before buying anything from the app store within the app. I would personally argue, and this would be the similar advice to someone who struggles with in-app purchases for themselves, is just not to link it up with a credit card or a debit card or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're responsible for a kid, it doesn't matter if they click buy, because there's actually
there's no way of them paying
there's
for
no
it.
link up. There's nothing to pay for. If you're responsible for your own money, then actually that gives you that extra kind of trigger to that kind of puts a little bit more effort into actually paying for it.
Yeah.
And gives you that a little bit more kind of thinking time, like, is this actually worthwhile me going to find my bank details? Is it worthwhile me find my wallet, my bank card, or whatever?
Yeah.
Because that way you're kind of putting up that extra kind of shield almost.
Yeah, and I will say kids do see it differently. So Andy kind of went, oh, it's more tangible. But in reality, young people, and I will say this as well, like there's loads of psychological research now that says that kids do not see the distinction between virtual worlds and real worlds. So when you say that something is tangible to you, it might not be tangible to them. So it's just explain to them why it's that way and why it is. It's just understanding that is a psychological thing where we're now adapting to that world. And now it's time for Andy's Game of the Week. Andy, what is your game this week?
So, complete change in tone.
Okay.
After all that, let's talk Life is Strange.
Okay. Is that a game title or just in general?
Thank you for going there. I purposely held the moment.
He wanted that joke.
A little bit. I mean, it is an older game now, relatively speaking, and it's been one of those games that's kind of sat on my to-play shelf in various different shapes and sizes for ages, and now I've started playing the original one, and I'm like, oh my days, this game is good. I see what people are getting at. Why on earth have I not played it before? All those kind of I get it type feelings. So basically, you take control of a character called Max, who has a ability to rewind time, so you can redo almost any action that you've taken within the game.
Wow.
And I'm pausing for a moment just to let you kind of work out actually what that could mean, if you have the ability to rewind to a conversation you've just had.
Yeah.
And then have the same conversation again, knowing what you already know.
Yeah.
And knowing about the outcomes and things like that.
I'm thinking of all those times where I have thought of a nifty comeback 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 4 hours after I've had that conversation.
Exactly. So there's all that sort of stuff. Those kind of meetings you have with people where you're like, actually, maybe I should have done that thing.
Yeah.
You can do that in this game.
Wow. If only we could do that in real life.
I know, right? And it kind of expands a little bit to include if you had to pick up an item, you could rewind time. You still have that item.
Ooh.
But the thing you had to do to get that item has been undone.
Okay.
So you've kind of walked back in time with the item on your person, basically.
Oh, interesting.
So there's lots of kind of puzzles that involve that game mechanic.
Yep.
There's lots of dilemmas.
Nice.
So there's a few choices that you have throughout the game that kind of impact people's reactions to you later on in the game as well. So it does get you thinking. Topic-wise, it does get a bit heavy at points. This is not a game for kids.
Yeah.
I would probably suggest more of a kind of teenage and upwards sort of bracket.
Yeah.
Mental health is a theme. Drug use comes up as well. There's some other kind of bits and pieces as well that kind of happen. Grief and all that sort of stuff is something you see being dealt with. And yeah, it is one of those games that's kind of listed in kind of emotional game lists for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is one of those games that will probably be on sale at some point on the game platform of your choice. It is available on most game platforms in various shapes or sizes. I'm now a fan.
Nice.
Check it out.
Nice. Well, that is all we've got time for today. If you follow, please do follow us on social medias at YMCA Exeter and at YMCA Exeter Games. If you're on YouTube, please do like and comment and subscribe, and we will see you next week.
Take care now.